Hello everybody, this is Chapter Development Director Neil Fitzgerald from JCI USA, broadcasting live from sunny California today. I've got a slight cold and obviously I come with an accent. Being British sometimes I talk a little bit faster than what you may be used to. So if you have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to ask. At the end of the webinar, I will also be emailing all of you with my contact details. So if you have any individual questions, you'll be very welcome to contact me at any time. It's currently 4:58 Pacific time, which I understand, if I've got my time zones right, is 5:58 Central time. And the webinar will be starting in 2 minutes time at 6 p.m. Pacific / 7 p.m. Central. So if you've got a chance, go and get yourself a cup of tea or a coffee or some water, and we'll begin in 2 minutes time. Okay, it's 5 p.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Central, and so we're ready to go with our webinar. Thank you to everybody for joining so far. For those of you who just joined, my name's Neil Fitzgerald, and I have the honour of being the Chapter Development Director for 2018. This is a new position that JCI brought into place late last year, and the idea behind having this additional role on the Executive Committee is to help empower our members and our states to go out there and develop new chapters. Most of this webinar today is going to talk about how to start a new chapter from scratch. If we have time, we'll go through a quick rebuild checklist with some hints and tips. There's also an appendix as well. Tomorrow you will all get emailed a Dropbox of information that we have via Google Documents, which will have this webinar on it so that you can send that to some of your colleagues within the JCI USA movement, and also with some further information on how to market a new chapter, the tax information that you need to do, the admin side of things as well, and then how to go and recruit members. So this webinar is quite broad in its scope, so if you have any questions, you can ask away. I recommend, though, that if you have any in-depth questions, to talk to your National Vice President and to also contact me as well. At the end of the webinar, I'll hand out my email address too, in case you haven't got it, and we can go from there. Okay, so let's begin. So one of the core things that we really at JCI USA want everyone to understand is that every member, no matter their JCI title, can set up a new chapter. That's one of our biggest things. Every member, no matter their JCI title, can set up a new chapter. Okay? So what are some tips and hints to get you going? So the first thing I would say is location, location, location. Think of where to base your chapter. Generally, in our experience, chapters within 30 minutes of another chapter are more likely to grow quicker. So if you think about it, if you are looking to establish a chapter and you don't have that support network near you, then that can be a little bit more challenging. Because one of the things that people want to do when they signed up for non-profits such as us is they really want to be associated with success, right? And so if you've got some chapters in the area where your prospective members can go along and help and volunteer at events or join socials, then it gets them already into the JCI USA movement. They get to meet people, and then that can then inspire and motivate them to start a new chapter themselves. So one example I always give is in California, where we had 4 new chapters start within 12 months. Unfortunately, one of those chapters is no longer with us right now and is probably in a rebuild status. The other ones that have survived because they're closer to other chapters. Now, that's not to say that you can't do one without that support network, but generally we find that the chapters that are closer to each other are likely to grow quicker. Okay. Another good tip is think of areas where chapters have folded. They may still have JCI members as well. Now, you have to be a little careful because some of those JCI members may have not been involved in that chapter because there was some drama that we don't know about. So just be careful if you are looking to bring back a chapter in an area that used to have one, that the people that you're talking to are still engaged, and frankly, they're the right people that you want to work with too. Okay? So, touched on it briefly, but who are you going to talk to? So sometimes you will get in your states people coming to you and going, hey, I want to start a chapter in X, Y, and Z, and that's awesome. Sometimes you might find that you will have members who have been in one chapter and then moved to an area that doesn't have a chapter. So they're good to talk to too. But here's some key tips for people you want to talk to as you go out there and engage. One is Chamber of Commerce's. So although we are technically a separate organisation from the US Chamber, there is a lot of JC chapters out there that are linked to the Chamber of Commerce's. And generally, chambers also want young members because they're looking for the next generation of people who can serve on the chamber board. And so they're interested in young professionals. They want new blood too. So they are a great resource to talk to. So we've got some great examples of a chapter that started up over in Maryland, and they've been talking to the Chambers of Commerce. We've got a chapter that's looking to start in Mississippi and one in Minnesota that's actually going to be linked into their Chamber of Commerce completely. One of the things the Chamber can do is help you get started. So a lot of chambers have got offices, which could come in handy. A lot of chambers as well can help get your new chapter's name out there with local media. And some chambers, although not all of them, may have some funds available to help cover the costs of the charter fee application, or indeed sponsor some members as well. So chambers are a good resource to talk to. Local politicians also want to be associated with young professionals who are doing good, and they will plug you into the community. I don't know of a politician out there who doesn't like being in a photo op with non-profit and charity work. So local politicians want to be associated with success. The other good thing is like the local politicians can talk to you about the community need and can talk to you about where can a JC chapter really thrive. Then the other great resource as well is our alumni network. So our senators, the alumni within states. Now, because there could have been a chapter there before, they can advise what happened in the past, avoiding the pitfalls of the past about why did that chapter fold. And they also as well, a lot of our alumni are incredibly enthusiastic, and some of our alumni are at that age now where they may have grandkids and kids who are actually JC age, and they're a great resource to go and get a new chapter started. Okay? So what you also need to think about in your community is what's going on. Is there a young professionals group, a YP group that wants to expand? Now, a lot of chapters and members say, oh, a YP group's competing with the JCs. Yes, but also a YP group is just there really for networking. And as you know, we are so much more than networking. So we can really bolt onto a YP group and in effect take it over sometimes and expand it out. What you've also got to think about is what are your JCs going to do? What are the issues facing the community? Now, I'm not suggesting that you hold a 2-day stakeholder training session using the active citizen framework and delve into all of the issues that could be in your community. But you want to think about how can the Jaycees start making an impact in a community? Because the more you make that impact at the start, the more chance you've got of getting more members to join and getting your chapter off the ground. Another thing to think about is there regeneration work, i.e. is there new apartments, businesses with young professionals? There's some towns out there with a very transient population where we might not be able to work. But for example, we're looking at doing a chapter in Denver, and Denver's a great place for us to be thinking about doing a chapter because there's lots of young professionals, a lot of them are engaged in the community as well, and a lot of them have moved into Denver from other parts of the states and might not know people. And in Los Angeles, this is one of the few metro areas that we've got within JCI USA where we've got lots of chapters. And the reason why we have chapters in LA is we have a lot of people who move to Los Angeles and don't know anybody and join the Jaycees that way. The other thing I can't recommend enough is to meet with non-profits, because a lot of non-profits need support. A lot of non-profits will be looking at doing recruitment for their board and developing their future board members for 3-4 years down the line. Most non-profits have got a long-term succession plan, and a lot of non-profits still require volunteers. And I can tell you from being on the board of some other non-profits, you always want to have too many volunteers and not enough volunteers when you come to a major event, because volunteers will drop out last minute. And so non-profits will be looking for volunteers. Now, one of the things to get across to all of you is that, when you're asking people to become JC members, is that we are not paid, we don't pay to volunteer, right? We are so much more. We're about empowering people to develop themselves to create positive change. We are not asking people to pay $50 a year to go and volunteer in the beer tent. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's not what we're here for. But the non-profits out there can help you plug into the community. Also, if they have a volunteer who's at that non-profit, who's JC age, ask that person at that non-profit, hey, would you like to serve on our board? Would you like to help out with the JCs? Because if they're already coming off of their seat, so to speak, and signing up with a non-profit, then one, they're probably looking to help change the world, cool, and two, they're probably looking to make some more friends and build a better network in their community. So ask the young professionals involved in the non-profits if they want to join in. Okay. So once you've got your idea of who you're going to talk to, i.e. your chambers, your local politicians, your JCI alumni, non-profits as well, you've got to think about how. So first of all, you kind of got your audience. Well, how are you going to get to that audience? One of the biggest tips we've got is find your media connections. Local media always need stories, and your press releases are that. They're great stories. You can pretty much write a press release on anything, and provided it's short and snappy, and ideally has a photo as well, it will get shared. So you can do a press release to say that the Junior Chamber are meeting on XY date at XY Community Centre to talk about local issues. And after your event, send out another press release to go, we met, here's a photo, this is what we talked about. Okay, so build those media connections. Now, if you're not sure and you're not somebody who likes to engage with local media, or you feel that you would be uncomfortable being on local radio or TV or being interviewed, that's okay. That's what your national vice president is for, and that's what I'm there for as well. So if you feel at some point that you need media training or you need help building those connections, your MVP, your state, or me, your chapter development director, can really help you with that. Of course, as well, ask for chamber, local politicians, and non-profit groups to spread the word. Another great one as well is a lot of coffee chains. So not just Starbucks, but Coffee Bean and most of the independent coffee shops as well will have community notice boards. Put a flyer on the notice board for JC's meeting at this time. One of the chapters we're starting in Minnesota sends to their local newspaper for what's on in their community section. This is what the JCs are up to. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on going out there to talk to people, and you don't have to think about it too hard. We're not asking you to build a national multimedia campaign. We're just asking you to just send out the information locally and think about the best way of communicating to people. Of course, what you need as well as flyers, you're going to need business cards for when you launch as well. JCI USA HQ can help you put business cards together, and social media. And we'll talk about social media in a bit more detail. And again, ask JCI USA, ask the national team and the alumni, provided there wasn't any JCI drama, to help out. I'm very happy to help out. I'm very happy to do some social media targeting. I am happy to help put together social media adverts to go and target people as well. I'm happy to go on Twitter and tweet people within your community and to tweet the media and to chase up and to make those connections. So use us. We are really here as a great resource to help you out. Okay, so I mentioned social media. I'm going to go into a bit more detail about social media 101. One of the biggest things I can say is that a Facebook page on its own isn't enough, nor is just doing an event invite. Unfortunately, too many of our chapters send out an invite 48 hours before the event, and they just send it to the members that they know about and their friends. But you're not talking to anybody new. What you need to do when you're starting a new chapter is you need to promote on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And if you don't know how to, or you need help, or you feel that you've got so much to do running a new chapter, you can ask us to help. So for example, at the moment, I help manage a couple of Facebook pages and a couple of Instagrams for new chapters that are developing in the USA. And what we can do is help provide content as well, which is going to be targeted towards the millennials and targeted to the people that we want to achieve. So for example, we can post content talking about what JCI USA is up to nationally. So our conventions, our awards, top outstanding young Americans. It's International Women's Week, so it's International Women's Day coming up, so we're talking about that. We'll also talk about what JCI is doing internationally as well with the UN Millennium Goals. We'll of course talk about Nothing But Nets as well. So Nothing But Nets is a great thing to promote on Facebook and the other social media avenues when you're looking at doing a new chapter, because that's something which we're already involved in, and that can give new members an idea about the great kind of projects that they can do. We'll also share news from JCI USA and also from other chapters too. So we can help build a profile for you on social media, so it sounds like your chapter is something that people really want to engage with. And although Denver's a little bit different, we launched a Facebook page in Denver. We did some advertising with it as well, and within a week we got over 100 people to like that page. So it is doable, and if you're not sure how to do it, we can help you. One of the things you need to do as well is go to a new audience. So it's great if you start your Facebook page and your first mixer event where you're going to share it on the state page or your institute page and say, hey, we're going to do a new chapter. Well, if you take a step back and think about it, the people you're talking to are already probably JCI members. So if you share it on the state page, or you invite people from the state or from other chapters, or the alumni, or the senators, or people from the institute, that's wonderful, and of course you should do, because they're there to help us and support you, right? But none of them are new members. So what you've got to do is you've got to go out there and invite current JCs to almost help backfill so that people are there at the event, okay? But you also need to go and talk to new people. Now what you can do is you can do Facebook advertising to target people. This is quite low cost. You can do it from $5, and Facebook will help you target people in your community that you think would be interested in Jaycees. Again, I can help you put that together as well if you're not sure. If you feel like you don't have the resources financially to do that, you can ask your state foundation to see if they will help fund it, or you can see if the US Foundation will help fund it too. And if you really are unable to get any funding from chambers or foundations to help get your chapter up the ground, and you really are on your own with it, then there are ways of doing it. There's a lot of community forums out there. So what you can do is you can share that. So you can join your community forums on Facebook for your local area and go, hey, I'm looking at starting a JCI chapter. Also share it with the senators and with your alumni too, but encourage people to go and invite new people, okay? And post across all your community groups. Post on the Chamber's Facebook page, tweet the Chamber, invite the Chamber on Twitter and Instagram and LinkedIn. Just get a LinkedIn, follow people within the area that are community figures, invite them to like the LinkedIn page as well, and start sharing information that way. Tweet your local newspaper, post on the local newspaper's Facebook page as well, and also tweet and Facebook message and Instagram all of the local non-profits in your area too. okay? Because you can create that buzz. So if you can do, put some money aside to help and do social media advertising by targeting people. But if you can't do, and you need to be a bit more broad, that's okay. We can help you at any time. Okay, so I mentioned it already, but do not just create an event page and invite current Jaycees or people who view your state page, because they've drunk the Kool-Aid. So you want new people. So ask your senators, alumni, and institute advisors to help share. Tell your fellow state presidents as well, because they might know people. So some of the members that we're looking at in Denver haven't actually lived in Denver that long. They've moved from other parts of the US, they've moved to Denver, and they're like, oh, we don't have a chapter here, let's get one going. So tell your local state presidents too, because your fellow state presidents are a great resource, because they may say to you, hey, we started a chapter 6 months ago and we found out that you needed to do X, Y, and Z, or hey, I know somebody that lives in Nevada and they are interested too. Also, you can let your MVP know, because a lot of the MVPs will have links to other parts of the states where somebody could have been interested in a chapter beforehand, and they will ask. So, for example, when I was an MVP last year, if I had anyone interested in starting a new chapter, first thing I'd say is, hey, have we had this discussion beforehand with other people? Because, you know, if you get one person every 2 months asking to build a chapter somewhere, then before you know, you could have 4, 6, 8 in a year. You put them all together in that area, and boom, you've got your first board. Make sure you tell us too. So tell your MVP, please. Tell the membership director, Justin, and tell me as well, so that we can help you as much as we can do. Like we say, JCI USA can help build your social media pages, and we can help update it too. What we can also do for social media is that HQ can also do logos for you. Now, the logos are done when you actually charter, but we can help you put together some information, a portfolio of content beforehand, okay? So that kind of talks about social media. The other big thing is building links. So, can't stress enough, non-profits are a great avenue to building your links within the community. From a selfish perspective, they can help with validation, okay? So a lot of people might not know what the Jaycees are, or JCI is, or Junior Chamber, because we go by lots of different names, right? But people will probably have heard of that non-profit in that area. That non-profit instantly has credibility in that area, and instantly has credibility with young professionals. The non-profits, of course, built into their community as well. So those non-profits will be able to help you work out what are the projects that you want to do at the start to help change your community, but also go and get people too. Okay, so they'll be able to help size the opportunity that you've got. Lots of non-profits have got young volunteers who are looking for more. Now, some of the non-profits will have volunteers who are high school age. So you might actually end up starting a JC teen chapter, but a lot of those people could be going to community college and then starting to hit 21 or 18 and then be ready to join the Jaycees fully. So a lot of them will have young volunteers looking for more. As mentioned before, many non-profits want to develop young professionals to become board members. So if you think about it, we are the perfect partners for other non-profits, because we're leaders. We are here to develop people, we're here to develop young professionals as well. So, you know, if you are a young professional and you have a JCI career, then hopefully you can serve on other non-profit boards in the future. So on the perfect partners topic as well, we could take on projects that the non-profits run or want to develop. Okay, so what you might end up doing in your first year, you might not do a massive toy drive or a turkey feed for Thanksgiving that's going to feed 500 people, okay? You may find that you might get a non-profit who says, well, actually, can you run this project for us because we're out of volunteers? Or if we had more resources, we would love to evolve and do X, Y, and Z. So you could take on a project for that non-profit. That non-profit then has got the, hopefully some of the financial resources, they've got the good brand name as well, they've got the expertise. So that non-profit can almost be like your incubator. So they can get your new members that you're targeting to be plugged into that non-profit, so that your new member feels like they're not being overwhelmed, your new member feels like they're actually being rewarded, your new member comes back from volunteering or helping out at that project feeling really fulfilled. And the more that you get people involved, the more chance you've got of getting them to sign up and pay and your chapter getting off the ground. So joint projects are great because they really help develop your new members' confidence to then take a project idea and expand it out and do it on their own. Plus, you're also building trust within the community because you're helping a recognised organisation. Okay. So I'm just going to take a quick break and get some water. I hope you're all bearing with me. So, find your first 5. So, as you probably know, the minimum number of members to have a chapter is 20, and you can charter with 10 members. And if you don't get to 20, you have to pay the difference between the 20 and the 10, right? But what you want to do is you really want to find your 5 key people. Now, it doesn't have to be 5. It can be 4. It can be 6. It can be 7. But ideally, you want to find 5 core people as you start your chapter, okay? Because they're going to be your people who are going to be your first board. So the people you want to think about are JCI members who've moved, because they're great trailblazers. They've already drunk the Kool-Aid. They've probably had JCI training already, so they probably have done some of our JC trainings. They may have been to a national convention, hopefully have been to a state convention. So your JCI members who've already signed up and are full-on JCI USA members are a great resource. Go through former chapter rosters as well. So a lot of the chapters that are no longer with us will still have people who could be of age members. They could join. Ask your chamber and politicians to recommend. So I was over in Maryland late last year. We met up with a city council member, and about 15 minutes in, he said, "Oh, I know 3 people who have moved here and are looking to do stuff. Yeah, you should talk to so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, I think they'd be interested." So just ask and say, "Hey, we are starting up a JCI chapter. Do you know somebody who would be interested?" Also, ask JCI USA. So we're often emailed by people asking where a chapter is. So we've got a central spreadsheet of people who've contacted us to say, "Hey, is there a chapter in that area?" Now, when we don't have chapters in that area, we do connect them with the state and we do encourage them to go off and build their own chapter. But some of these people, don't know too much about the Jaycees, may have heard about us and have just raised their hands. But we have got a sheet of hand raisers. So if you are looking at starting a chapter in an area and you don't know of any JCI members that there at the moment, do check in with your national vice president or do ask me. We can let you know if we've had interest in that area before and we can connect you with those people. Okay, how else do you find your first 5? Well, contact young professionals you see who are getting out there in the community. So there's a lot of young professional groups, networking groups like Team, a lot of industry associations and Chamber of Commerce's will be having regular events. They also, a lot of the time, will have awards. So your community may have an awards program for young professionals, and it could be a top 10, it could be a 22 that do, it could be a 40 under 40. Go and target those people because they're already out there in the community looking to make positive change. Visit networking groups as well. Now, for some people, you may be very enthusiastic and going to a networking group is really easy for you and you're used to do that, okay? Because the networking groups often have people in there who want to do more than just networking, okay? Because JCI USA isn't just about networking. Now, if you're somebody who is a little bit more uncomfortable about going to visit networking groups, then ask a friend to come with you or somebody from your state to come with you and to help out. Who else to talk to? Children and grandchildren of senators and alumni. So I'm starting a chapter at the moment in Nevada, and it's actually going to get started up by the grandmother of some JCI age members. She was a JC for a number of years as well. She was a former past state president, and now she's at that age where she's able to get more people in her family to sign up, which is awesome. Another big tip I've got for you is don't be discouraged. Cast your net far and wide. So if you really do feel that you're on your own and that there's no one to help you, come and have a chat with me and we'll help put together a plan for you to go out there and find people. And if you feel uncomfortable going out there and getting the people, I'll certainly help you, as will Justin, as will the rest of the USA team. Okay, I can't stress enough that myself and the rest of JCI USA are to help you in any way that we can. And once you've got your 5 interested, probably get another 2 to 3, and then you're ready to begin. Okay, so you're kind of ready to begin. What are you going to do first? Got your first event. Woo! So what you want to do first of all is invite your prospective new members. Like I say, mark it not just on your chapter or state Facebook page. Mark it far and wide. About 50% of the people who are interested in your event won't come. Don't be despondent by that. It's just the world we live in. Invite some alumni who've aged out within the last 5 years. And I say the last 5 years because they're more in tune with the organisation and where we're going. And some of them can still pass for being under 40 as well. And you don't want an event where there's only 1 or 2 people. They can help backfill. Okay, invite your local chapters and your state team, because your state team can then be there to help introduce people, and your state leaders, if they come to your events, should be introducing themselves to your prospective members. Try and make your first event informal. So do drinks, do appetizers. You don't have to do it in a bar, you can do it in a social club, but try and do it fairly informal, because remember what it was like when you first joined the JC organisation, right? So you don't want to scare people off. You don't want to make it too formal too. You want it to be very relaxed so people feel comfortable and feel like they want to come back. Okay? What else do you want to do? Ideally, you want some JC members there who can talk to new members on a one-to-one basis. So like I say, state leaders should meet every prospective member. The caveat to that is don't JCI vomit. What I mean by that is don't start an event going, and if you are a senator or kudos to you, I'm Senate number 49865 and I'm a member of the Corps and I'm a tiger and I've won this award and that award and I won this, that and the other. Because 1, those people don't know what any of that is. 2, some of them, I don't mean this in an offensive way, probably don't care that you're a senator. And 3, you're going to come across like this is a club that they can't engage with. Okay, so what you want to do is somebody talks about the Jaycees, is talk about all the good stuff. Oh, I've got back one. Hold on. Let's just try and go back. I knew that would happen. Oh, I've been sorry, people. Let's just go back to where we were. There we go. So, talk about the cool things that we do. So, we are here to help develop young people to create positive change. We're not about asking people to pay to be volunteers. We're not just a networking group. That the JCI experience is so much more than that. But talk about the good stuff that we do. And if you can't relate to something in your own area that we do at the moment, then you can talk about nothing but nets, or talk about what another chapter's done in a different part of the country. Okay? So talk about the good work that we do. Don't just talk about how many awards you've won or the past as well. And if you do have alumni there and senators there, do talk to them beforehand to help set the expectation levels about what you want them to do. That they're there to encourage people to sign up and talk about how great it is, not to delve into the past. Okay? Have a suggestion box for projects. Now, some of your new members that are coming to your events will be enthusiastic and will hand raise and go, hey, I want to do this in my community. But you may have other people who are a little bit quieter, who might not feel comfortable talking in a group full of people. So have a suggestion box for projects, because what that shows people, is that you're really there to listen, so that you're not coming in and going, hi, I'm Neil and I'm going to be president of JCI Town and we're going to do a toy drive for children and we're going to raise $20,000 and we're going to look after 300 families and I need you to sign up on this day and this is the first committee meeting. Okay? Nobody likes a Napoleon. What you want to do is go, hey, we're starting a JC chapter in this area. We want to help you to reach your dreams and goals. We want to help empower you to help change your community. Do you have any suggestions? Now, a lot of people will go, oh, hey, my friend just invited me. I'm just here for a beer. I'm just here for a chat. I'm not really sure. I'm not ready to make that commitment yet. And that's okay. But if you have that suggestion box with you, then those members who feel comfortable raising their hands, you're meeting their need, But those members who need a little bit more help and support, you're helping meet those needs as well. Okay? And then finally, have your second event ready to announce on the first night so that you help create that buzz. Okay, so you've got your first event. So 1, invite alumni and senators by all means. 2, invite your state team. 3, invite people with JCIH. 4, talk to the local media, chambers and politicians to get the word out. 5, do a press release beforehand. 6, make sure that you've got some social media advertising going. 7, make sure that you don't just invite current JCI members to your event. Have a suggestion box. Don't do the JCI spiel about how great this organisation was. Take it down a notch to talk to people who might not know who we are. And last but not least, make sure everyone's greeted and have a second event ready to announce on that night. Okay, so what's next? So for your second event, you don't have to invite all of these people, but maybe for your second event, you can invite a local politician, depending on the audience, okay? So for your first event, if no one's interested in the local community and the local election or helping raise money to change the junction that's dangerous at the moment or improve school safety or any of the things that local politicians get involved in, then that's okay. Tier your second event to what people are interested in. So you can invite politicians, local media, non-profit, chamber contacts, okay? So for your first event, you want it to be quite JC focused. Second one, you can introduce more people into the mix. Second one, you can have a bit more of an informal induction. Ask people to bring business cards, have some more flyers. Also talk about what sort of event you'd like to do. So you can plan an easy community event like a beach cleanup or a litter pick. So try and get a community event off the ground that's not too complicated or high budget, but is high visibility. Or, like I said, work with a non-profit. So if a non-profit's got a volunteer opportunity coming up, you can put that in your flyer at your second event to say, hey, we're partnering with so-and-so. And invite that non-profit to come along and talk for a couple of minutes. Ideally, at your second event, or at your third, if you can't get it for your second, have somebody there who can also help talk to your new members. So whether that's national officer like me, state president, or your immediate past president, have somebody there who can talk about JCI without scaring off your new members. Because by your second meeting, you can't possibly talk to everybody for 20 minutes at a time, right? Because you're helping to organise the event. If you've got a guest, you want to look after them. You want to make sure that you get to talk to everybody. So backfill and make sure that there's other people there that you feel comfortable with who can talk about JCI on your behalf. Now, where else is next? Well, find a key leader or president. Now, sometimes with a new chapter, you will find a new president immediately. And you have your first event, and you're like, yep, that person's going to be the new president. Sometimes it can take you 6 months to find somebody. But in the back of your mind, think about the key leaders that you want. What you also want to do as you're starting up your new chapter is, of course, send the media photos and a press release from your first event for the second, and send everyone a thank you note. You won't believe the power of a thank you. Don't send a mass email via Gmail where you BCC everybody. Send people a thank you note in the post or a thank you text. Or actually, what's even better is to give people a phone call and call them after the event and go, hey, thanks for coming. Likewise, if somebody RSVP'd for the first or second event and they haven't made it out yet, phone them. Drop them a text and go, hey, I know you're interested in joining for Jaycees. I was really sad I didn't get to meet you. Do you want to meet for coffee sometime? Now, some of these people might not just be interested at all and won't come to anything. But you could find out that the 2 events that you did so far were on the wrong day, or they had childcare responsibilities last minute, or they got stuck at work. So ask people out for coffee. The worst that happens is they say no. And the best that happens is that you've got a new member. Plus, who doesn't like going for coffee? Talk to us as well. So talk to JCI USA on how to set up your chapter. So how to do the tax side of things, your incorporation, your bylaws and your chartering. A lot of the stuff we will take care of for you because we have blanket tax IDs with the IRS. But each state operates slightly differently. And so have a chat with us. And then if we don't know the answer immediately, we can find out the answer for you. And as a reminder, you need a minimum of 10 members to go and get chartered. Okay. So for your first year, here's some tips. So you want to start with 3 board members minimum. So if you remember, I said find your first 5, get to your 10, and then you want to get your first 3 board members. You need a president, the secretary, and the treasurer. Most states, for their non-profit laws, require you to have those 3, the president, the secretary, and the treasurer. Your treasurer is an important role in the first year because they're going to make sure that all your tax and state information is submitted. And when I mean state information, I don't just mean the information submitted to your JCI state, but also your actual state and your Secretary of State as well, and making sure that everything's submitted. What you also want to do is schedule consistent, regular meetings at a set time so people get used to JCI USA. Now, you're never going to please all the people all of your time when you do your meetings, okay? You're never going to get everybody at the same event at all the same time. But if you can schedule them in advance, it helps out. Try and do 2 events per month, 1 social and 1 community. Now, there are some chapters out there in their first year who do amazing work and have loads of events. But realistically, 2 events per month is enough. Now, if your members want to do 1 every week, that's great. But I would recommend you do 2 events per month and dovetail and do a mix of social and community. And then once you've got more people coming, that's when you can do more professional development. And what you want to do from a professional development perspective, and we strongly recommend this, is that when you charter, you join the Civic Leadership Certification Program, and your members join Passport Civic Leadership. Now, if you don't know what those programs are, that's okay. Ask your MVP, and they can connect you to the program managers who can help you out. Now, if you do know what they are, one of the questions you may have is, Civic Leadership Certification for chapters, the deadline's at the start of the year, and that's true. But we're working on a mini CLC that we can do for chapters that extend all throughout the year, so we can give them a checklist of the things to focus on to help develop their members. We really strongly recommend that new members join Passport Civic Leadership, because that's a program all about the member. That's there to guide them and to really engage in the organisation. And for those of you who know what Passport is, or who have been awarded Passport because you've completed your 10th degree, you'll know that this is a great program for people. People can do it at their own pace, because some of the members that you're going to attract in your new chapter are going to want to get stuck in and change the world immediately. Some of them are going to take time to get involved. And Passport allows people to have a clear membership development plan within this organisation. It allows people to go at their own pace. Okay? Right, once you feel you're ready, begin some JCI training. So Achieve, Admin, and Impact. They're all important. I think they've all got equal weighting in your first year. Personally, I'd say that Admin, I would try and do that. I'll try and do that sooner rather than later. But if you can do, try and get the JCI trainings done within your first year. One thing that we will ask you to do is to arrange a training or planning session with the chapter development director. That's me. So that could be that I fly in for the weekend and do full JCI training and help you plan a calendar of events over the year, help you connect to your local media, do media invites myself and go on local TV and news and get interviewed and go out there and really do high energy, high impact. Or it could be a Skype session or a go-to meeting or a series of phone calls as well. But what we want to be able to do is have an individual chapter plan for each of our new chapters that's developed to their needs, their community's needs, and most importantly, their members' needs. So we have the basics of Passport Civic Leadership and Civic Leadership Certifications, Passport CLC. We have Shoot for Success as well, but they're tailored at a high level to chapters across the US. What we will be able to do with you as you start your new chapters is have an individual plan for each chapter tailored to your needs. There will be some minimum requirements that you'll need to do, some hints and tips, but we want to be able to have an individual plan for your chapter so that you maximise the opportunities you've got for your chapter to really grow and develop. Now, after 6 months, you want to review and you want to make a call on whether to let the chapter run itself. So what I mean by that is that some of you looking to do new chapters are on a state team or have been a chapter leader before and are just helping out. So 6 months in, you want to review and think, well, is that chapter ready to go out onto its own, or does it need further support? In your first year, don't try and save the world. One of the chapters I've seen that was great at the start but unfortunately burnt out was because they did too many big projects in the first year. They got demotivated because they weren't able to raise the money they thought they were, and then the second year, the core leadership team had all burnt out and collapsed. And then we couldn't get the chapter off the ground again. So like I said, be realistic about what you want to achieve. Have a calendar of events so that members can be energised to see monthly activity. Now, if you are not in the position to do 2 events per month, put events on your calendar which aren't yours, which are the chambers or another groups or a non-profit. And then what you can do is you could do, hey, we're going to volunteer X, Y, and Z event for a couple of hours, and we're going to do a happy hour afterwards, or we're going for coffee afterwards, or we're going to go for dinner, okay? So piggyback onto other people's events. The biggest thing is over-communicate. PR everything. So PR every single thing that you do and have a social media strategy in place. And if you're comfortable with social media and media, fantastic. If you're not, JCI USA is here to help you. We have a marketing committee who can help you. We have a national vice president, Brent, who overlooks communications and marketing. We also have the membership director, Justin, and myself, chapter development director, Neil. We can all help you put something together. Okay, so remember, focus on getting your members, focus on fun projects, devote time to the planning side of things as well. So making sure that you've got your tax ID set up and making sure that you are compliant with your state from a JCI perspective and also the state that you live in. Devote time to media and PR and getting the word out. And like I said, if you don't get people coming to your events at the start, don't be despondent. Don't be too hard on yourselves. What you're doing is absolutely incredible because you're taking the JCI message and you're broadening it and you're expanding it out to people who don't know who we are. We are one of America's best kept secrets. Think how excited you were when you became a JC and you realised how awesome this organisation is. So don't be hard on yourselves because you are doing something absolutely incredible. You're going out there and leading, and you're going out there and getting new people to join this organisation to help change the world. That's awesome. And please, please, please ask us for help. That's my email address. If you want to Skype me, phone me, WhatsApp message me, Facebook message me, send me a letter, send a carrier pigeon to me, I don't mind. I am here to help in any which way. Okay, so we're doing okay for time because we've got about 15 minutes left to go. So I'm just going to whiz through some sort of additional slides that we put in, depending on how we work for time, okay? So, rebuilds. Rebuilds is pretty simple. We recommend that you follow the same plan and tips as beginning of a new chapter. So if you have a chapter of under 10 that's been struggling for a while, it's time to rip the band-aid off and start again. Talk to JCI USA and the previous state leaders as to why the chapter folded. Be prepared for some JCI drama. Don't engage. Change the conversation to being a positive. Don't have any time for that's the way we've always done it because the chapter died. So the old way didn't work. And that's the same, by the way, if you bring back a chapter that hasn't been there for 10 years' time. That's the way we've always done it. Doesn't cut it because the old way didn't work. And phone members who are within JCI age to gauge their interest. Don't rely on emails. Have a checklist too. So interested members within JCIH, review the previous projects that the chapter did, look to bring back ones that were popular because you can use the brand name of that project as a way of getting some interest back. Talk to new non-profits about a project they want to do. Booking JCI trainings. If you're bringing back a chapter in an area which the chapter's folded in, those previous members that are still JCIH need a JCI refresh. A lot of our trainings have changed. A lot of the way that we conduct ourselves has changed as well. So you want to make sure that they're fully empowered and fully engaged, and politely let alumni know that the chapter is back, but it's going in a different direction. Okay? So, support. Mentioned support already. This is what JCI can do to help you with your rebuilds or new chapters. The setup and the paperwork, social media strategy and media help. We can visit to boost the profile morale, get you a chapter plan put together, help identify new members, connect you with JCI, find out the reasons why a chapter folded, and be on hand for advice and mentorship. So here's some takeaways for you. Finally, have fun, ask us for support, avoid any alumni drama, make sure you over communicate, and have some fun. So if you have any questions at any time, please feel free to reach out to me. That's my email address. And finally, I'm just going to run through our appendix, which we'll send out to you as well, which has some information on tax and the paperwork that you need to do. So before your new chapter starts, please contact myself, the Chapter Development Director, and the JCI Executive Director. A number of you are obviously in state organisations that are highly experienced, and your state leadership team are great resources for you. But please, please, please contact myself and the ED because we have the most up-to-date and relevant information. Make sure that you refer to your state's non-profit tax laws and codes because some states require additional filing. These change regularly, so don't assume that you know it. See if you know a friendly law firm who will help you pro bono with the incorporation and bylaws in exchange for being a supporter or sponsor. Your tax status will be a 501c4. JCI USA will take care of the overarching filing, but you'll need to do some too. And the IRS has got a full website, lots of information. I've downloaded a lot of the information, and we will be uploading that to the new section that we have on the JCI website for members, and also our Google Dropbox as well, so that you'll have all the how-to guides so that you know how to get the taxes sorted out. And check in with our financial director at JCI USA or a CPA that you know with. Don't assume that you know all of it. First, you need to get your EIN tax ID, and we have a PowerPoint to show you how to go and get that. 2, make sure that you're filing the right forms. You want to get the form, the 1024, the 1024-A. That's the one for 50C4s. There's lots of different forms out there for lots of different 501 organisations. Make sure that you've got the 1024-A. The IRS also changed the law in 2015 and required a second form, the 8976, to be filled out within 60 days of your organisation formally coming into fruition, okay? And then you have a thing called the 990, which you submit yearly. So like I say on here, it's got details of all the information and what you can file electronically, okay? So to recap, you need to get your EIN tax ID. JCI chapters are 501c4s, so make sure that you're using the 501c4 paperwork. Talk to a lawyer, if you can do, to help you with incorporation and bylaws, and double check your state non-profit bylaws and codes to make sure that you're in compliance not just with the IRS and not just with your state board and JCI, but also your state that you physically live in. Okay? That gives you all the information on the tax paperwork and information. Thank you so much for listening to us. I'm glad I got this done in time with 8 minutes to go. If you have any questions, feel free to use the webinar program and ask questions now. Or if you want to think about it, don't forget you can contact me at mfitzgerald@jciusa.org. That's mfitzgerald@jciusa.org. Thank you so much for your time this evening, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.